Peace, peace. Peace. How's everybody doing? We praying that everybody is well. We are not going to be long in this, but this is something that needs to, brothers and sisters, get out, say to the people in this particular matter, if we will. Right? Now, for quite some time, there has been discussion, talk, if you will, so forth and so on, regarding who would come first in a man's life. And again, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything of that sort, but this is something that we care to sit there and bring out for reference purposes. So, asking you all to comment, asking you all to share, and if you do like it, asking you to click like upon such. So, without any further ado, this is on the platforms Mora Yeshaya History Lessons and Mora Yeshaya Torah Lessons. Let me know what you think. Thank you. All right. Looks like I'm going to have to sit there and share. Stop that aspect. Share again. In that particular case, and so be it. And then pull this up. Start from the beginning in that manner. All right. So, how is everyone? In this presentation, who comes first in a man's life? We will explain that a man has a lot of responsibilities, and in such, he has to make time for his mom, sister, wife/lady, daughter, and community. The fact that we, Black people, ask such shows we need help as a people. Now, this is something that has been discussed among different people and things of that kind of nature. And some people will say, well, the wife come first. Some people say the daughter come first. And when I began to look at comments on the internet and began to sit there and see certain things in my life, I thought it'd be a good idea to sit there and bring this out to the people for reference purposes. So, again, what can we say concerning this kind of matter and this kind of subject? I can be reached at 908-587-4841. Again, that's 908-587-4841. All right? A matter to present in this. A man is to honor, okay, supposed to put his mom. I'm going to put that in that case. All right. A man is to honor his mom. A man is to honor the mom of his lady. Now, when I say lady, is also equivalent to his wife. Okay. A man is to respect the woman who had his daughter. A man is to teach his daughter. Now, let's take that for instance. Can it be disagreed with? Can the statement that's made right there about a man having to honor his mother, a man is to honor the mother of his lady, that's to say his mother-in-law, a man is to respect the woman who had his daughter. Can any of those statements be disagreed with? Let's continue. A man is to teach his daughter. This shows that a man has a lot of responsibilities. And we know older men are there to teach the younger men the responsibility of the community. So when we spoke earlier and we mentioned here, right, about the matter of mom, sister, wife / lady, daughter, and community, we can see where this actually fits into that particular matter. All right. The men say that in their 40s or even their 50s and younger are to be taught by the people who are older, say in the community, if we will. Is that true? If such is true, then it is very important to sit there and acknowledge that it is not maybe the best idea to even ask such a question, who comes first in a man's life? But let's continue and let's see and try to ascertain some understanding in this. Women who are not catty, controlling, unnecessarily possessive, but are rather supportive, concerned, and loving, would not think to be put before anyone else. They would think to have an important and significant place in a man's life, but not in place / competition of another. So why is that statement made at the end of this particular slide as we see here? Because some, not all, have it to where you're spending time with your mother, you're spending time with your sister, you're spending time with your daughter, and X, Y, and Z. I'm supposed to sit there and be first. Now, if she is his significant other, then she would, and he would see that she will want to invite herself into his life in that kind of matter, not separate herself in that kind of matter. Not where she's made herself feel that she has to be, okay, now you spend time with your daughter and your mom, now spend time with me. Why not spend time together or together? If we talk about aspect of honoring the mother, teaching the daughter, how is there ever a question on who comes first in his life? Because of the cattiness, because of the unnecessary possessiveness, because of the lack of support, and because of the lack of concern and love for, quote, family. That is why we see that in that particular case. So let us reread that last part. They would think to have an important and significant place in a man's life, but not in place / competition of another. Now, we agree that a man is to honor the woman who is his mother-in-law. How would it look if he were to say he should be put before her father? Or he should be put before her son? Or he should be put before her daughter? In the 1980s, I remember hearing a song called Not Without My Child. And the theme of the song was that the man in a woman's life who was not the father of her children or the father of her child wanted essentially her to choose between him and her child. And the lady who was singing the song, the theme of the song was saying, not without my child. So if we're going to have a life together, my child comes along with it. That was a song I remember hearing. But once it comes down, not to be sexist, when a man sits there and says, well, family that I already have is significant and important to me, then he is questioned. Nobody questions the woman when she doesn't deal with the man, when she is made to have to feel, so she have to put her family or her man first. When she sits there and says, don't make me choose between my flesh and blood and you, then people understand that. But when a man says, he wants to sit there and spend time with his flesh and blood, then it becomes a question. So we already see the matter of misandry, the hatred of males. We already see the cattiness in certain cases. So there have been several instances in which a man in a relationship has supported the woman he's with, the children that she has, the relative or relatives that she has. But then when it needs to perhaps be reciprocated, one way, shape, form, fashion, or another, then questions arise. Then it's, I'm busy. Then it's, So we have to look and see what we've been dealing with as a, quote, community. And then see the cattiness and the disrespect that comes into play. Because people, male and female alike, understand when a woman sits there and not deal with a man who tries to sit there and make himself more important than her flesh and blood. Try to make her choose between him and her children. Everybody in the world understands why she picked her children. But then the man, if he happens to sit there and, quote, pick his child or children, then he's not understood. No. We're not dealing with that kind of lopsidedness. Because it boils down to a thing where a man, a parent, a woman, a parent, you, family, if anything, are to be answered to. Not you answer to your child. So let's see the meme that has been circulating and then close out. Let us examine the mindset. The fact that this meme exists shows that there is a problem. Who was the catty, rude, I'm going to think female, who thought to make this? Now, I don't know who made it, just my thought, not trying to be sexist. Who will put a wife in the same category as a mom who is an elder/older person? So if a man has a lady, he has a wife, he has a significant other, why would she want to be put in the category of his mother? Does she still want a son in her mind? To sit there and come to it like, well, you're spending time with your mom. Why will she not join on with him and spending time with the elder of a community? It's because the selfishness that is not healthy. It's me, do for me. And therefore, if it means that you got to sacrifice for family and time, then so be it, because you don't see it as cohesive. You don't see it as mother-in-law. You don't see it as stepdaughter, as stepson. You don't see it as, okay, this is his ex who happens to be the mother of this child. We can sit there and still rock as sister or sisters. No, it's me, forget everybody else kind of mentality. And that is why we want to go over this kind of subject. So, who would put a wife in the same category as a mom who is an elder/older person? Who will put a wife in the same category as a daughter/baby? You got it to where mothers will still call their children baby when the baby is 20-something or whatever old. And that is the mother's right. So let's look. Why would you see a meme on the right side? Unless the community and the family values are broken. Who comes first in a man's life? His wife, his mom, baby mama, or daughter? Now, for the house of Israel, many say the wife. Biblically, but if we not trying to say that everything is perfect or was perfect in everybody's life, if you was doing things biblically, there would have never been a baby's mama. So this meme right here, you can't then jump house of Israel for the Israelites to now sit there and talk about the way it should have been. Because if it was the way it should have been, there would have never been a baby's mama. There would have been a wife before she became a mother. So therefore, that argument is moot. So let's look at this in context of our people. Who comes first in a man's life? This shows that we need help. My mother would be the mother-in-law to my wife. My mother, by default, will be older than my wife. She's an elder to my wife, even if the woman who is my wife is no longer or was never with me. Who would be my mother-in-law is still an elder to me. And the elders in the community are to be respected. Did we forget that? Yes. Did we forget that we're supposed to sit there and be an influence to other people's children, even if it's not your own? Remember when it went around on social media that somebody spanked somebody else's child for acting up? People saying, yeah, we need to have it to where you get into the kids behind because they're so rude. But then you okay separating yourself as the wife from your man's daughter, from your man's son. What kind of cattiness is this? What kind of competitive mindset and lack of community values are we expressing in this kind of manner? Can she not honor her man's mom? Can she not be an influence to her man's daughter? Can she not sit there and as a sister get along with his ex? But then we talk about community. We talk about and praise a man on the internet who spanked somebody else's child, saying the community needs to sit there and get into stuff like that. You can talk about being the child's behind, but you can't sit there and talk about community values and us coming together. This is why we have a problem, brothers and sisters. Don't sit there with the belt to beat somebody else's child. Like the neighbor back in the day can sit there and spank the neighbor's son, the neighbor's daughter, and then bring you home to your parents, and then your parents spank you again. Those are the elders who know what I'm talking about in that kind of time frame. That was acceptable, but nowadays, it's not acceptable for peace sake, for the sake of tranquility, but it's accepted back in the day for violence, and the spanking is violent, brothers and sisters. We can understand why if the child is acting up, and the neighbor knows the parents and say, you know what, I'm going to take the place of your parent and I'm going to sit there and get in your behind with that. We understand that, but we don't understand why a man should have to choose or would choose his wife over his own mother, who spanked him perhaps, over his own daughter, who he may have to spank perhaps. Brothers and sisters, we need help as a people. Where have our people's values gone to where, not to be redundant, we understood that kind of training in the community where everybody got in the children's behind, verbally or otherwise. But then the wife of a man cannot verbally be a support to his daughter, her stepdaughter, her mother-in-law. She can't be the ears to her mother-in-law. She can't sit there and rock sister to his ex. Come on now. This is why nobody respects us as a people. Because it's me, forget everybody else. And it's seen. These are things we care to bring out for reference purposes. We asking you all to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Have a good evening. Peace.